Great ceremony over the weekend in San Francisco honoring Buster Posey, and among the teammates that loved him the most throughout his career, the guys that pitched to him, including our next guest, Cory Gearrin, threw to him about 100 times during the course of his near 10-year Major League career. A lot of experience as battery mates with the future Hall of Famer. Cory, thanks for the time, man. And I guess for folks watching who wonder what the big deal is all about when we talk about Buster Posey, how would you relate your experiences to them?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt. Obviously everybody knows what Buster did on the field. You know, he's an MVP. He's a 3-time World Series winner. As somebody who played with him, what you come to find out is just how outstanding a person he is. And I think that's why so many people came back, so many fans came out. What he meant to that team, every guy in the clubhouse who's played with him, in the city of San Francisco, just goes above and beyond, I think what you expect from a ball player. And so it's, he definitely impacted my career, and it was, an honor to go back and get to celebrate him with everybody.
Yeah, you were at the ceremony over the weekend, and I'm sure you were asked this by a lot of the local media, but we'll ask you as well. Is there an anecdote, a story that you can remember, perhaps a game where you come on to put out a fire, runners at the corners, tying runs in scoring position, and Buster came out and said something to you or massaged you through the difficulty in such a way that you remember it still?
Yeah, plenty of times. My role, I came into trouble a lot. We were always playing tight games there in San Francisco. And one of the things that was impressive to me was it wasn't a one-off thing. You come into a game and he kind of paints the picture very clearly. He's in total control. He understands his approach all game and how you kind of fit into that game plan. And so, there were plenty of times we came in bases loaded, runners in scoring position, tight game. He kind of just tells you how it is. He says, this is what we're going to do. This is what we've been doing. And it makes your job a lot easier knowing that he's been in control, that he's right there with you pitch to pitch. It's not a one-off thing. I couldn't just say one time that Buster came out and did something special, because really getting to pitch with him every night, had its own benefits. Each individual game, he did something special every time.
Yeah, he was like a son to your former manager, Bruce Bochy, who had his own sons, has his own sons, one of whom pitched for the Giants. Did you ever experience the dynamic between the two of them that way? They were extremely close, and such a mutual admiration society they had.
Yeah, absolutely. They were a force. I can remember my first time coming into a game for San Francisco. I came over, you're looking to make a good impression. Boch is there on the mound. Buster's there on the mound. And it was a tight spot. I was coming in with runners on. I think it was Kaner I was coming in after. And, you're wanting to come in and put up zeros for the first time. With both of them there, Boch kind of just settled everything down. He really cast vision on the mound. He's like, this is what we're looking for. This is how we're going to do it. And he kind of steps off, and then Buster picks up right where he left off. So they were simpatico. Those two catchers, two guys that understand the game. They've caught tons of baseball. As a pitcher, it doesn't get much better than that. You can have a lot of confidence in both those guys because they've been through it all. And so, those two guys love each other. It was one of the things from the ceremony that really stuck out to me. Getting to see Boch come up and speak about Buster in front of all the fans. You can really tell, they love each other, that they've been through, everything you can really go through in baseball together. And, the character of both those guys just really stands out in their admiration for one another.
We've got all your major league employers on the screen there, Cory. You pitched with a lot of teams. We know you the most as a Giant. You broke in with the Braves, where you were teammates with a guy who's already a Hall of Famer in Chipper Jones. Similarities between the two characters, between Chipper and Buster, or were they cut from different cloths?
Yeah, there's definitely some similarities. Both Southern guys, both kind of have the same demeanor in the clubhouse in terms of very even keel, very steady, incredible students of the game. I think if I had to say one thing that really stood out to me the most about both those guys is nothing surprised them. They knew what they were in for every day. They did their homework. They had a game plan, and they were very successful both throughout their careers because of that. Obviously their talent stayed at a very high level, but their preparation continued to get better and better over time. And that was something huge for me to get to learn in both those clubhouses, getting to watch two of the best in the history of the game, at preparing and being students of the game and just loving it and really not giving anything away. That's the other thing I'll say. Both those guys knew that every day was an opportunity to get a win. They wanted to win for their team, for their city, and they knew it was an opportunity to get knocks. They wanted to go out and get hits and win ball games, and they took every at-bat and every pitch serious.
You are a student after all. Let's talk about you for a sec. Your last appearance in the big leagues came in 2020, and since then you have stumbled over to the Harvard Business School. Am I right about that? What were you doing at Harvard?
Yeah, so Harvard has a great program called the Crossover into Sports, and what they do is they bring in Anita Elbersay, who's the professor there at HBS that kind of heads up the program. They bring in a cohort of professional athletes from all over the country, all over the world, different sports, and you get to do a deep dive basically. So you get to learn about the background of every kind of different sport, business models, how it works, different industries, and it's very, very enlightening. One of the case studies that you get to dive into from baseball that was interesting to me is, you learn about BAMTech. It was something that everybody in baseball had kind of heard of, but getting to understand the business model, how it was structured, how it developed, and ultimately how it was sold was incredibly interesting to me to see it as a baseball player. And there have actually been a couple different ball players who've gone through it now. I think Alex Rodriguez has come through and been a part of it. Adam Ottavino is in the group with me as well. So it's been exciting to see baseball players getting more involved. I had reached out to them a couple years back, being on the executive board for the MLBPA, and I had noticed that no baseball players had been a part of it yet, and that was kind of a mission of mine, was to make that bridge and to get more ball players in that program.
All right, well, here is the million-dollar question, quite literally. Was anybody at Harvard able to authenticate the fishy Babe Ruth autographed baseball that you have behind your right shoulder? Is that real? What is the story with the Babe Ruth ball?
Yeah, so I collect some stuff. Don't display a ton of stuff in the house. We just moved, so we're kind of still unpacking. But actually, the best thing about this is not necessarily the ball; it's the stand. So early on in my career, a teammate of mine, David Hale, who's actually a Princeton guy, you mentioned Harvard. Dave and I came up together with the Braves, and we both had been collecting balls, getting signatures, stuff like that. We're kind of collectors, and we were looking for stands to display, and we always wanted a stand like in the Sandlot, like the Babe Ruth ball in Sandlot, and we searched everywhere. We couldn't find it. So Dave is very intuitive guy. He is a builder, very craftsman kind of person. So he said, we should build it ourselves. And so we did. We started designing it, got molds and everything. And one day I got a package in the mail from David sent to my house, opened it up, and it was the stand with the autographed Babe Ruth ball that's replicated kind of like the Sandlot ball. So not a legit Babe Ruth autograph, but it's a special story for me, something we created, and it's a one-off. There's no more out there that I'm aware of. So.
Excellent. Not quite authentic, but still very cool. Hey, Cory, we appreciate the visit, man. Been nice getting to know you, and thanks for sharing your memories of Buster Posey weekend. Thanks for the time.